Hello, this is Joy Workshop and this is class number 5. The subject today is how to heal your speech. So we've been talking about happiness and joy and contentment and equanimity and all these different levels of happiness. And now I'm going to focus on my thing, which is language, and how through language we can create more happiness in our lives. Because if we change the way we speak, and we change the words we use, we will change our thoughts. And the first step is to observe the words we use. Most of the people, most of the time, speak in a negative way. The words that are used over and over is no, can't, disaster, tragedy, loss, pain, suffering. And people will say very casually, oh, I'm going to kill myself. Things like that. And this all begins at the very beginning of life when children are really young and they turn 2 years old. All that happens is that they acquire mobility. When they acquire mobility, their parents are concerned and they start saying, no, don't. You're going to fall, you're going to hurt yourself. And then when children hurt themselves, we say, I told you. In reality, the proper way to say that would be careful, you can hurt yourself. And we should celebrate our children's independence. I understand they're a handful, but at least be careful with the way we talk to them. Then we have 6 pronouns: I, you, he or she, we, you, and they. Most of the people speak incorrectly, and most of the people speak the second person of the singular most of the time, which makes language very confusing. So instead of saying, when you have to teach this class and you really don't know the material and you're nervous and you think people are going to judge you. No, that's not the right way to say it. Listen to how it sounds if I say it the right way. I am preparing this class and I don't know the material well enough and I get nervous and I think you're going to judge me. That's a proper I and that's a proper you. So a lot of the time people don't use the proper language, first of all, because we don't know what we think and we don't know what we want to say. And many times when we talk about things that are delicate or complex or tricky, we like to use an ambiguous language just in case, because we don't want to be confrontational and we want to stay ambiguous. The problem with this is that it creates a lot of confusion. And I will just make a funny example, which is, let's just imagine there's a man in a bar and he's very handsome and there's this woman and she's talking to this man. And this man says, when you have to talk to this person about this thing and you're in this place, if we would ask this woman what he just said, she could say, he likes me. He wants to tell me he likes me. And there is no truth in that. We don't know what he's talking about because he just said person, place, and thing. We don't know if that person is a man or a woman, old or young, a sibling, a parent, a child, a co-worker. We have no idea who he's talking about. And then this thing could be love, could be money, could be health, could be any subject. And this place could be a bar, a hotel, prison, a cruise, a car, a home, a bedroom, a kitchen. We don't know. And we talk like this most of the time. The experts on this ambiguous language are astrologers, tarot readers, and people who are just fishing to try to find the truth. Lawyers can also be very good at this language, especially when they're trying to find out more information, or detectives, or people who really don't have the proper information. And for those of us who are writers and journalists and love language, we know how important it is to be specific. Because if I want to write something and I want to connect with the reader, I have to be very specific. So it's not the same to say a dog in the street than to say a French poodle on the sidewalk. A French poodle on the sidewalk, you could be thinking of a black, big French poodle on a big sidewalk in Paris or London or somewhere. Or you could be thinking of a small white French poodle at the end of your street. Still, those two images are much closer than dog in the street. Or if I say Rottweiler in an alley, your image and my image are closer. Your alley could be in the middle of the night, mine could be in the afternoon, yours could have bricks, mine could be gray. but we're still much closer. So specific language gives us a better tools and better ways of communication. And the right words should always be searched for. They make our lives more efficient, our communication more efficient, our relationships more intimate, and even at work, we become more practical. So one of the things that we are very good at is giving bad feedback, negative feedback. We're good at giving it, and we're not good at receiving positive feedback. There's a shyness about positive feedback. And so when we give negative feedback, we're specific. We tell people what they did wrong, how they did wrong, how it was inconvenient for us, how much we hated it, etc. Once again, it's the negative language over and over. But positive feedback is more scarce. And just an example, if you would tell me that my blouse is beautiful, most people would say, this blouse, I was going to give it away to Goodwill. It's really old. I've had it for 15 years. And maybe it has a hole in it. So I just insulted you because you told me you like my blouse. So I robbed you from a compliment. So the ideal situation, and maybe you can practice, is to answer 3 things. Thank you, period. Yes, I accept that. I accept what you're saying. And then the last one, usually with people you know better, because they might think you're a snob or you're proud, and you say, yes, I am. If someone tells you you're smart and you say, yes, I am, it might come as a surprise, but it is the best way to accept a compliment because you're really receiving something that is being given to you. And we should practice to give positive feedback, and we should practice to receive positive feedback. One of the things that helps us start changing our words and our thought process is using affirmations. Affirmations are positive sentences. The best time to use them is the beginning of the day because it changes the way we're going to think the rest of the day. I have a list of positive feedbacks that I use. I have them in this plastic thing and I have them protected. The best thing to do is to read them out loud in front of the mirror. And I will give you a few examples. The first one is, I wake up each morning with intention and purpose. Creative energy surges through me and leads me to new and brilliant ideas. My ability to conquer my challenges is limitless. My potential to succeed is infinite. Every day I learn and continue to grow into the best version of myself. And my favorite is, I am at peace with all that has happened, is happening, and will happen. These are some ideas. If there's an area in your life that you're struggling with, write down an affirmation that works for you. If it has to do with scarcity and lack, write an affirmation that has to do with abundance. If it has to do with love, then write an affirmation that has to do with love or health or whatever issue you have. And write it with big words like infinite, meaningful, important, significant, powerful, empowerment, etc. There are lots of very positive words that will touch your soul and reprogram your thought process. And just keep in mind that words are things. So if we look at a tree outside, that's the real thing. But TREE, that is a word and it's a thing. And that's what I'm using to communicate with you. Things are tools that we use to communicate ideas. So if we use good tools, if we have good vocabulary, and if we use positive words, our thoughts will become more positive. And so I would invite you to go on a diet word, and I would just recommend to stop using 3 words: hard, difficult, and complicated. There are many others like no, can't, but, disaster, destroy, kill, break, hurt, pain, trauma. For example, just when you say but, whatever the person said right before you said but is just canceling what was said before. Instead of using but, use and you're adding on to the idea that was shared. And there's lists of words you can explore, and you can have extra positive words as tools, and just try observing your language. Try observing your language. Be generous with others. Say nice things to other people. And when people say nice things to you, appreciate them, thank them, and accept them. And it's something that we need to be aware of at all times. Most people, like I said at the beginning, speak of very negative things most of the time. So good luck with your word diet, and choose maybe the one that is hard, difficult, and complicated are my suggestion. But think about the words you use and start with one. Start with one. And when you stop using that one and you substitute it with something more positive, then you can work with another one. The word with which you can substitute hard, difficult, and complicated is challenging. When something is challenging, it means that you have not overcome it, but when you overcome it, it is an obstacle that you have been able to conquer. When something is tough and you resolve it, you are tough yourself. So think about it and good luck.